Good evening, Master. Once again, we are gathered here in the name of the Ascended Masters, in the name of Jesus Christ, with the support of Saint Germain, with the support of our Archangel Michael, our Master Kuan Yin, and all the beings of light of the White Brotherhoods who willingly came to help us in this work, so rewarding and enriching, both for human beings and for us spirits of light. It is a way to equalize all issues, equalize knowledge, and make them unisonos, so that they are disseminated without any misunderstanding. Let's communicate. Let's start our session. Through thinking, our friend Channel suggested to us that today we talk a little more in detail about the actions immediately after disembodying. We realize that it is especially important that human beings understand what happens in the moments right after the disembodying, and in this way be better prepared for this moment, which is so confusing for the human being. We know that every religion, every race, or even social classes have certain dogmas on this issue. The fact is that there is no single answer, there is no single procedure for all human beings. Of course, what happens right after disembodiment depends on several specific factors of each being: what was experienced during its incarnation, the time incarnated, what occurred in past lives, and the defined reincarnation plan. All these issues influence at that moment. There is also a very big difference depending on how the disembodiment happens. The disembodiment of an elderly loved one who disincarnated for natural reasons is quite different from a disembodiment that occurred suddenly through an accident or through an external incident regarding the attitudes and life plan of the human being in question. What we can say is that what is common among all these variables which we have talked about is that there is a revelation about the general aspects of a person's life, not only of this last incarnation, but also of all the past incarnations, of all the past lives which the being has had. If the person has the preparation and knows that this occurs, everything is simplified. The information ends up flowing in a more logical way when the person has a preparation for this moment. What we can say is that just like a movie, several images come to the mind of the disembodied being. Images that have many meanings, that tell the story of this spirit from its beginning, going through all their lives until reaching the last life recently lived. As information flows in a different way from what is used in the material plane, many people who are not prepared end up not understanding what is going on and end up being distressed. They end up not being able to immediately absorb what happened. Let's call it the movie of life. It is totally misunderstood and poorly received by this being. If we can inform as many people as possible about this issue, we are sure that a lot of confusion will cease to exist at these times. It is a fact that disembodied beings, for various reasons, are accompanied by beings of the astral world or beings of the spiritual world. Newly disembodied beings receive the presence of beings of other dimensions. These beings of other dimensions may be around you with different attitudes, depending on what has occurred in your lives. As we have mentioned a few times, most members of the Eastern Brotherhoods who care in life for their ancestors, for their deceased loved ones, and who have established a close connection with them, upon disembodying, these people receive the support, help, and protection of various beings of other dimensions, basically from the spiritual plane. On the other hand, when a human being whose nature, whose character, whose attitudes in life were dubious and aroused negative emotions in people during their time on earth, harming these people, at the moment of disembodiment, this human being will receive the influence of beings from another dimension. Only in this case, they are beings of the astral world. In general, they are the people who have been harmed by him or her, and who have already disembodied as well. These beings of the astral world, for the most part, are there not to do positive acts, but are there to charge the newly disembodied being for their negative actions, charge for their attitudes while they were alive, contemporaries of the material plane. Of course, in this case, the newly disembodied is totally disoriented. Therefore, dear friends of the material plane, we can say without fear of error that you will not be alone when you disembody. We can also say that the type of company around you will depend solely and exclusively on your actions, on your attitudes during your life on the material plane, as well as on all your past lives. We are here informing what happens at this time of recently disembodiment of human beings. We know that all human beings also have in common the fact that they remain in the astral plane for a period until one understands what is happening and can make the decisions that fits them. It is known that even after disincarnating, one continues with his or her free will. He or she can use free will as well as on the material plane. Therefore, no actions are imposed, but the beings that accompany them can sometimes influence them in a very persuasive way. As mentioned above, beings who accompany them can influence them in times of confusion, influencing them to make decisions that will impact a considerable time of their lives. So, here is one more reason for this information to reach human beings, so that they are prepared for this situation of strong influence. To make it clearer, let's take as an example a person who commits violent acts against other people. Of course, these people who have suffered violent acts, or these beings of the astral world, at the end of the life of this human being, will be there accompanying their disembodiment in an unsubtle way, influencing their thoughts. These thoughts will lead the human being to mistaken decisions that can lead him or her to very low energy layers or bands in which the being will have to live for many years. In the example of a being who receives positive influences from his loved ones, who can, through good influences, quickly capture what is happening, understand what occurs when disembodying, surely will be vibrating in a much higher energy band that will make him more comfortable in this dimension. So, friends, again, we want to make it clear that there is no pattern in what occurs right after the disembodiment. It depends a lot on your attitudes and your thoughts. We wish to leave this message to all of you to be prepared for that moment. Be aware of what can happen at this confusing time, but which can be a rather peaceful time. We hope that the information will be transmitted in the best possible way and reach the people who need to be reached. I am sure we are helping you with this beautiful work being done. Thank you all so much. Have a good week. So be it. Oh, thank God.